All right, now to the most important part of every show. Today's guest is Young Harris College Chief of Police Robbie Rich. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, how long have you been Chief of Police?
I've been chief of police, going on, since Sheriff Henderson took office. He was the
Okay.
prior chief, but I've been at Young Harris College for going on 15 years as a full-time police officer.
Wow,
Yes, I
wow.
was assistant chief prior to my chief of police.
Good experience. Good. You've been there a while then.
Yes, sir.
Did you go to school there or is
No,
it?
sir. No, sir. I'm originally from Young Harris. I'm a local.
Okay.
I
All right.
graduated from Towns County,
Oh, very
so I'm
good.
from the area.
What year did you graduate high school?
1997.
I'm feeling old. 1983. Okay. All right. You're a kid. All right. Um, Tell me about. Have you been a police chief or a police officer not on the college campus?
I have. I worked for Towns County Sheriff's Office
Right.
prior to this,
Okay.
and then prior to Georgia law enforcement, I served in the Army, and
Oh,
I
wow.
was in the military police, and a lot of the same things. Traffic enforcement, crime solving, stuff
Right.
like that. A lot of the same things we
Sure,
did here.
sure, sure. Do you see much in the way of the difference or law enforcement's law enforcement? I was just intellectual curiosity.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. And there's a lot of differences too. Campus policing is a lot of is different. It's special to me. I enjoy doing it.
Right.
Getting to interact with the young adults, I should say.
No, they're kids. At 58, I'll call those. I go over to college a lot. I love y'all's athletic programs over there, and I look around and go, they're either getting younger or you're getting older. I'm not sure which.
But Young Harris is a very special place to me, and I love working at Young Harris College.
How many police officers do y'all currently have there?
I have 4 full-time police officers,
Wow.
and that's including me.
All
And
right.
then I have around 10 part-time police officers. The reason why we have so many part-time officers is with the athletic events and the events that
Sure.
we have to have officers, traffic control and stuff like that.
Okay, now I got to ask you. I looked at y'all's website. I went on the Young Harris College website and looked up campus police. And one of the things that kept seeing is parking control slash enforcement, parking decals. I got to tell you, I went to Florida State back in the 80s, and campus police was not well thought of because they constantly wrote tickets. They did just has college campuses improved at all as far as parking, or is it still an issue?
It's still an issue. It's still an issue, and unfortunately, we do write our fair share of parking tickets to to
Sure.
get
Oh,
them
I
in line a
understand.
little
I
bit.
understand.
But yes, not of course not as much I'm sure as Florida State or somewhere like that.
Well, that was in the 80s. I hope they've improved. Do y'all are freshmen allowed to have a vehicle on campus?
They are.
Oh,
They
wow.
are.
That is different from
Yes, sir.
some universities.
Yes, sir.
That's nice. That's convenient.
It is, and it's helpful because in this area, stuff is spread apart, and that's one. To me, that's one of the special parts about this, the outdoors part of this
Right.
area and everything. But things are spread out too, and it makes it difficult for students to get things, and so they will need a vehicle in some cases.
And the police station, y'all are located on campus.
We are located in the lobby of Monjay Hall, which is back there near the gym where the basketball and everybody plays.
Okay. In reviewing this, it said they are authorized full police powers. I mean, you're a policeman, but it says including the power of arrest on all college property.
Yes, sir.
Are you allowed to pull me over if I'm not on college property?
Well, one of the things too, like if the ones we're deputized as well, because
Yes, sir.
some of us work part time for Sheriff Henderson.
Right.
But the ones that's not, as long as we're bordering our campus, we can
Okay.
pull, enforce the laws bordering our campus within so many feet,
Okay.
like that.
How many feet? Because I
I
speed
think
a lot.
like-
No, I'm teasing with you. No, I'm teasing with you. I'm trying to see.
But all of us, we work with the sheriff's office and stuff like that. So we're deputized. And that helps us go out and assist the
Sure,
deputies as well.
sure. Well, let me ask you, the real reason that I wanted to have you on was I was at the Movers and Shakers breakfast meeting, I don't know, within the last month or so, and you did a presentation on the drone. And I found that fascinating. Drones have really revolutionized photography for real estate agents. I used to, you would pull up to a home and you could only get a picture of the side of the home because it was hanging off the mountain. And you just could not get a fair depiction of the home. So when drones came out, I bought one immediately, used it, and then it had an accident, so I now use a professional that does drone photography. Tell me a little, or tell me a lot. I found it fascinating, your lecture on the drone.
Well, I'm still learning every day because there's so much technology in them. And I've only been doing it just for a little over, about a year and a half.
Right.
It took me a little bit to get my license, a lot of studying.
Yeah, you have to be a licensed pilot, so to
Yes,
speak, for a
do it
drone.
professionally.
Right.
Recreationally, you don't. You have to go through a few, online
Yeah.
things to get that. But to fly it professionally,
Right.
especially for like real estate for
Sure.
stuff like that. If you're
Has
going
to
to
be
make money or do
professional now.
something like
Yep.
that, you have to get a license. But it's a good thing to have, though.
Yeah.
You learn a lot from it. But the drones, in particular, the one that we have at the sheriff's office, the capabilities of that thing, it's amazing. I have been called out several times, on search and rescue incidents and stuff like that. Somewhat successful. I mean, anytime I get called out and able to
Sure.
help, I consider it successful. But just the capabilities, the camera on it, it's got a 200 optical zoom on it. I've got thermal imaging capabilities, and it's a man force multiplier.
The you, I cheated because I got to go to your lecture. You helped with some kids, some Cub Scouts, or
Yes, Union County. I was requested by Union County Fire Department, and there were some other drone teams there as well. I think they called. I think Fannin County and Gilmer County arrived as well.
they have drones also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I assisted, their search and rescue efforts. I didn't locate the kids,
Right.
but we was able to help direct them where to go and stuff like that. But one of the firefighters, searched.
From the drone, okay, they're not in this neck of the woods,
Exactly,
so to speak.
exactly.
That's got to make a search so much more efficient.
Yes, sir.
You know where to direct the rescuers.
Exactly,
And they
exactly.
found the five. I think it was
They
five.
did. They did.
That was wonderful. Tell us a little about yourself. We've learned about the Young Harris Police Department. Tell us a little about yourself. We know that you were born and raised locally. Are you married?
I am married. Been married going on 20 years,
All right.
and got two kids, a boy and a girl. My son, he's a freshman in Hayesville High School, and my
right.
daughter, she is a kindergartner at Hayesville. So
Very good. Very good. I take it you live over in Hayesville.
I do. I do.
As do I. As do I. Well, good. Your parents?
Parents are Young Harris.
Oh, in Young
Yes,
Harris.
I'm originally from Young Harris area. so-
Right. Right. Well, before the break, we had just started talking about the drone. I again, I saw you speak at the Movers and Shakers a while back, and I found I never really thought about all the different applications. I use it for photography, but I never thought about the fires we have up here in the mountains. That was fascinating. The different thermal. The one I have, take a picture. Yours is high tech. Tell us a little about firefighting with a drone.
Yeah, a while back, I believe it was the beginning of November. We had there was a brush or a wildfire on. It was on the backside of Bell Mountain. You could
Right.
see the smoke coming, and I was requested by Chief Copeland, the Towns County Fire Department, and so I took the drone up there. It's great. Luckily, it was great weather. I was worried about the wind because
Sure.
you have to be careful about the wind. So I was able to take off and seen the smoke and all that stuff, and switched it to thermal, and you could see it was just awesome, really, just because you could see the direction that the flyer was traveling, and how it was just really cool to see how the thermal worked on that.
So thus the firefighters knew where to be, when to be.
Correct.
That to me is just that's amazing.
It is. It is.
The
It's a
advance
great tool.
it gives you.
It's a great tool to have.
no risk of life flying that up. Okay, we need men here.
Correct.
That was just And you have different levels of thermal or something.
There's different types of the thermal camera on there for
Right.
different scenarios. I'm still learning a lot on those
Sure.
things. I typically use it's called white hot or black hot. It's easier for me to see the images on the screen. They stand out more. The hotter the images stand out more to me on those types of thermals.
All right. And just the plethora of uses for it. You mentioned a training you went to. Tell the audience or the listeners some of the different uses of a drone in law enforcement.
Yeah, the training I went to, it was a week long training down at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, and we covered hazmat training, active shooter training, fire training, accident scene training, crime scene training. And basically you're just mapping the scenes and stuff.
Right.
And with the active shooter stuff, it's kind of like a man force safety thing, because some of the drones that you see out there, they're small enough. Our drone's huge, so you wouldn't be flying it inside a building.
It's definitely a big boy.
Right.
That day you took it out in the parking lot. Yeah, I remember.
And but some drones they have out there, you can actually fly inside the building, and it could potentially protect officers' lives or somebody from getting hurt.
So you don't have to look and duck. You just fly that out.
Correct.
That's just amazing.
Exactly.
How long have y'all had the drone here in Towns County?
I believe going on, I think we got the drone around about a year and a half ago, right when I took possession of it.
Okay.
And I started learning to take the test and all that stuff.
And some of the other counties, y'all ever have joint operations?
We've reached out, and Union County's called us,
Right.
The fire department, and we're out there. We're here. If anybody needs us, we're here. All they got to do is ask us to respond, and we'd be glad to help. And as far as North Carolina, I am trained in North Carolina. I have my North Carolina certificate to fly in North Carolina commercially.
All right. How high can that drone go?
The drone, legally, I can fly 400 foot above ground level, which is different than sea level. It's above ground level is where I'm standing at, so I can go
Right.
400 foot in the air above where I'm standing.
Okay. Is there a difference between you're using the drone and let's say there's someone out there that's listening and they have a drone? Are there any differences? Because you use it for law enforcement, that's a better word, law enforcement purposes. Is there a whole lot of difference in the rules or laws?
Well, if we're on a public safety mission, I would say we would have the right of way at that time. I mean, we just have to look at the situation, what's going on, and then, and where we're flying and how we're flying them out there, because you always want to be aware, because if there's helicopters or anything flying,
Right.
I'm not flying, period.
Sure.
If they're in the
Sure.
area. But, you just want to be very cautious of what your surroundings, because you do not want to crash and cause a crash.
Okay. Let's say I am in my backyard and enjoying a peaceful day and a drone flies over my home. Can I get my 12 gauge pump, my Ithaca, and drop it down, or 20 gauge, I should say, but can I?
No, unfortunately, you cannot shoot the drone down. What you need to do is report it. There's ways you can report it to the FAA on the website. There's instructions on their website, or you can call the sheriff's office, and we can tell you how to report it.
So it's for the listeners out there, because I've actually heard many people say, if they fly that drone over my property, I'm shooting it down. They don't have a right to be over my property. So I guess part of what they're saying is they have a right to their privacy. They just have to report it.
Right, and I understand the right to privacy, and as far as what my actions, we're going to protect everybody's right. I'm not going to, we're going to protect the spirit of the Fourth Amendment.
Sure.
But what they're saying, if you shoot the drone down, you don't know where it's going to land,
Right.
what damage it's going to cause, or who it might hurt.
Right.
That's what we're looking at there on that part. And if somebody does shoot it down, probably be able to track them down, and I believe it's a felony charge. It's a federal felony charge.
Wow. And the feds don't mess around.
No, sir, they do not.
I'm very familiar with them. Tell us a little about Night flying. Do you ever fly it at night?
I do. I do. I'm actually the drone we have is capable of flying at night. You may know since you fly drones, they have to have anti-collision lights installed on them to fly at night. And there for a while, you had to have a certain class to fly at night, but now it's included in the Part 107 certificate to fly at night for the commercial flyers and stuff. But I enjoy it. It's kind of cool flying at night because it's a different perspective,
Right.
especially with the thermal and stuff. And the Boy Scout camp that night, that was a nighttime operation.
Oh wow. That.
Yeah, you seen it was cool seeing the wildlife and the trees and stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
pretty
never
cool.
thought
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Is it their eyes?
Well, you just seen the heat signatures. You could see, the shape of them.
Okay, because you were in thermal mode. Okay. For folks that are out there listening and are just unfamiliar with the Young Harris Police Department, that Young Harris College Police Department, what would you like folks to know about y'all's active? I know one thing that caught my eye is the officers are on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, protecting our students.
Yeah, and that's the main thing I want people to know that, we're out here on campus. I know a lot of people think that when the students go home, we're not here. That's not wrong. We're here. And one thing, too, is a common misconception, too, is we're police officers. We're not security. I know that we're labeled security departments and stuff like that on some college campuses, but we're Georgia certified police officers, and we're a full service police department for the college, which means we can make arrests. We do accident reports, incident reports, just everything that a normal police department can do. So, but on the college campus. So, just
All right, all right. Well, I really appreciate you coming. This has been good for me. I can tell you my experience with campus police back in the 80s. Yes. But maybe that was more me than them looking back. Folks, this is Rick Andrews with today's guest, Young Harris College Chief of Police Robbie Rich. As always, I really appreciate y'all listening. If y'all have any guests y'all like to have on, please give us a call. Thank you for listening.